make your day.
Welcome to this Thursday edition of Your Day. Donna London takes us to the 2010 South Carolina Water Resources Conference for a conversation with South Carolina State Senator Paul Campbell. Then we'll visit Ashtabula Plantation in Pendleton with Libby Hoyle to learn something about holiday traditions across the years at this historic upstate house. We'll consider what you do when no one's watching as Peter Kent talks with Dr. Dan Wieste of the Rutland Institute for Ethics at Clemson University. Eric Rogers talks with Clemson English professor Dr. Jan Holmevik and student Will Hall about educational uses of the 3D virtual world known as Second Life. And we'll go birding in the university forest with naturalist Matt Johnson. Those features when your day continues. Now Eric Rogers learns about some educational uses of the online community called Second Life.
Joining me in the studio today are Dr. Jan Holmevik, a professor in the Department of English at Clemson University, and Will Hall, one of Dr. Holmevik's students and also Your Day production assistant. Welcome to Your Day.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, today we're going to talk about something that, we may have heard about, our listeners may be sort of familiar with, but we haven't really talked about on Your Day. It's Second Life. Jan, if you would just bring us up to speed on what is Second Life.
Okay, so Second Life is a virtual world that exists on the internet where people from anywhere in the world can log into this shared space that is persistent, meaning when you put an object down, it remains in place, even if you're not there. So the space exists, and users come in, and one of the things that people like to do in Second Life is to socialize, build things, build houses. Second Life is 5 years old now, it's 6 years old, 2004, and I first came across it in 2005 when I was working at Copenhagen, Denmark, and I thought this looks fairly interesting for as a virtual space, as an educational space. I had been working with virtual technologies, text-based, since 1995. We started using it. I started using it in classes here at Clemson when I came here in 2006.
So is this something, I guess, that typically people, like the general public, would be using this as like an entertainment type of thing, or?
Yeah, this is not an educational system per se. It has been appropriated for such uses, but it was not originally designed as an educational system.
So how is it being used in education?
Okay, so it varies a lot from area to area. I'll talk about my uses of it in my field that I know. I've had 3 projects currently here at Clemson use Second Life. The first one was with Dr. Elisa Sparks from the English department. She's a literature professor and a Virginia Woolf scholar, and we built a virtual Woolf world, as we called it, as a place for Woolf scholars around the world to gather and talk about Virginia Woolf and her literature and her work. So that was one. And then the other one was with Dr. Dina Batista, and she's a professor in architecture here at Clemson as well. And they had a big grant from the Department of Defense to develop what they call the patient room of the future. And we built a virtual model of that as a way of helping them with their some of their design considerations. And then currently the project that we're working on now is with Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management on developing a virtual Masai Mara in Second Life. This is a hotel that will be used as a training facility for people from Africa who will be working in the tourist industry in the Masai Mara.
So the idea here, I guess, is you're building an environment that people will come to and have some sort of virtual training.
Yes, that's one of the uses. Of course, they also probably want to use it for promotional purposes, right, to bring people in to get a sense of what they will expect to find when they get to Africa, to this virtual hotel, which sits right on the border of the Masai Mara Nature Preserve in Kenya.
So how does one of these projects get started? I mean, you have this virtual world. How do you establish some space and start building a hotel?
Okay, so I have a class on visual communication in the English department, and one of the things that I like to look at are the future trends. And one of the things that we're doing now is looking at visual communication in 3D spaces. And so this is one example of that. And Dr. Sheila Bachman from tourism contacted me, and we've been working together for a couple of years on different things. And they had this project that they were doing with a university in Africa. And so we got together, and I suggested that we could do this. They provide the project. I provide the students and the tutoring and the guiding and the building. We go from there. It's been a wonderful collaboration.
Well, let's talk about some of the student experience in this. I guess, Will, had you had any experience with Second Life before?
Second Life, no. I've done stuff with The Sims before, which is similar, but with Second Life itself, no. This is the first experience I've ever had with it.
From the beginning, I guess, just sort of getting into this virtual world, what was it like, I guess, making a transition from, interacting in a classroom in the physical world? I guess you're collaborating with your peers in this virtual world to work on this project together.
Yes. It was interesting. It was, when we started out, well, we were all, the term I think is, we were all newbies. And, it was interesting just, trying to get into figuring out how to build things in Second Life and just how to manipulate the different things, in the world. It's been a fun experience.
So what exactly has your role been? What are some of the things that you have done?
I am a member of the building group, and I'm working with 3 other students on building the structures that are going to be located on the space camp. We've got the main visitor center. We've got the main thing that I've been working on personally are the tents, some of the tents that are going to be located in the space. And we've also got
the jewelry workshop.
The jewelry workshop. Thank you, Dr. H. And, the building group, we're all each working on different aspects of the structures, but we're all collaborating, trying to get as far as placing them.
Right.
And
well, it sounds like it was a big undertaking, I guess, going from nothing to, to building this village or all of these structures, this whole system.
It was pretty stressful there at the beginning. Just like I said, I think very few of us had really any experience with Second Life, so it was an interesting learning experience.
What's been your favorite part of the project?
I'd have to say just collaborating with my classmates and group members to actually bring this project together.
Well, Dr. Holmevik, this seems to be maybe a multi-phase project then, since this class is building this, and you mentioned there is going to be another use for this in the future. So how does that work? Is this world open to other people, or is this, is just the next class picks it up and they assign people to use it? Or
Yeah, as Will just said, part of my pedagogy is to, first of all, let students collaborate. You can do much more substantial projects when you have more brain power and hands putting at it. So that's very important aspect of the thing. And in academia and traditionally, we kind of value individual work, and so this is one of the things that this project teaches them and help them realize is the value of the collaborative work, which is what they'll be facing in the workplace later on. So this particular project, once it's done, from their perspective, that's when they finish the semester. I have 2 graduate students who will be taking over next semester. One is a PhD in tourism management, and the other is a master's student in sociology. And they will continue and finish stage 2 of this, bringing it up to the specs that the client then eventually will have. So it's a multi-staged project. And
then once the next stage is completed and people start using this, how does that work?
That will be, I assume they will be bringing in people to staff the hotel, and they might use it for role-playing training purposes.
Okay.
Got to remember also that some of these environments are so new that it's only our imagination that really limits what we can do with it. So we're training and learning as we go along. I have had good experience using role-play as a training tool in the virtual space as the place to situate the role-playing. For instance, one might imagine people who will be staffing these hotels or these base camp hotels coming in and have to deal with Westerners who may have particular needs or desires, or how do you deal with that? You know, it's also a cultural issue. So,
and this is all in the virtual world too, so it's really interesting to think about that. You know, folks who don't necessarily think that they might be acting with folks, you know, from other countries now have to take those considerations. So one thing we also want to try to convey with this project is the desire to want to explore other cultures. And there are, of course, various ways that you can do that, but I think one way that we want to try to do is situate an experience in a virtual space that is not necessarily reproduction of the original space, but it's more it more tries to convey what it's like to be there, what it feels like to be there. In other words, so what kind of sounds are you going to hear? How's the mood going to be? You can hear people talking in the background. You'll hear them talking with Kenyan accents, things like that just creates a sort of sense of, okay, I'm there, but I know I'm not there, and I'm excited about going. One might imagine going to Africa. What do you bring? What do you pack? Okay, what kind of temperatures are there? You might log in and talk to the person that works the front desk, and they will tell you, yeah, it's going to be in the 50s, and you better bring a sweater. And you think, oh, I thought Africa was warm. Well, this is high altitude, perhaps, and so that's a way of preparing travelers too. So thanks so much for coming in and sharing this with us. It's really interesting. I thought that Second Life was something that was just kind of an entertainment thing, so it's really interesting to see how it's being used in education. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You'll find links to more information on Second Life and the Clemson Project at our website, yourday.clemson.edu.